100 Days of Gratitude, day 23, and today I'm grateful for wood heat through a wood fireplace. Would love to have a wood stove, but what I have here is next best thing, which is just a wood fireplace. And I'm missing my walk today. It is minus 30 and I'm teaching a class later, so staying home, prepping some recipes, and mothers being mothers decided to drive my daughter to school. So I'm here hanging out with the little guy, getting a fire going, being cozy. I just got it nice and roaring, and yeah, beautiful day. So I will get my walk later on. Once I'm done teaching, it'll be kind of a late night. I'll be walking / biking back. But in the meantime, enjoying the beauty of the fire. Now, this is something I got into over the last couple of years, really deeply over the pandemic. It was so kind of soothing, nourishing, and it was a nice, just kind of like connective hobby that I got into. And I got into it a big way. My wife almost joked because I had this like obsession about wood, like finding it in alleyways, seeing trees felled, going and collecting the wood, stacking it, storing it, and I've developed this whole kind of ritual and system around it. She wanted to call me the beaver, and I was like, no, let's not go there. Let's not use that name. I get what you're coming from, but yeah, it's become a passion. It's something that, having been born and raised in the city, not something that I grew up with. Those of you that have a connection to fire, there's still, I think in the US, like 1.7 million homes rely on wood as their primary heat source for their home. And I'm sure a similar percentage in Canada. The more rural you are, the more likely you are. And this house here, northwest of Calgary, it was built in the 70s, and it was not uncommon to have, this home has 2 fireplaces in it. There's one downstairs, which is like a live fireplace, which I discovered is what they call decorative. So it's beautiful, just like beautiful live fire, but all the heat just goes straight up. And this one, the previous owners had converted it to gas, and it was just something that we never really used. And in fact, in the not use of it, it just sucked cold air, and it really made this part of the house so cold. And yeah, we decided to invest in a wood burning fireplace. We had a BMW that my mother-in-law had given us when she moved out of the country, and I drove it for a while. It was fine. It was a nice car, but I was like, came to the point where like, don't really love this car, don't really need a second car. Ended up getting another one from my father. So we sold the BMW and to someone much more appreciative of it, and we bought this. We bought the wood burning fireplace, and absolutely loving it. So it's become my passion, and I've developed so much of a connection to fire, but also wood, and the different types of wood, and how they each burn and the heat that it gives off, and then storing and curing wood. I've got several places around, a couple inside the house, right underneath the fire. I've got kind of immediate access. I've got some more downstairs, and then just outside, around the side of the house, I've got a place to kind of stack. Well, actually under the deck is where the dried wood goes, and then the side of the house is where wood is curing. And then even I got some really fresh wood from a neighbor who chopped down his spruce tree, and it was really wet. It was in a place, it was touching the ground. It was starting to not cure in a good way. And so I actually ended up moving it to the garage. And then I found, another neighbor down the road had stacked up these beautiful logs of like maple, like dense Manitoba maple, freshly cut. So threw that in the garage. So there's this kind of like series, this progression of wood in various states of drying, ready for the fireplace. And I know there's been huge improvements, efficiencies with these wood burning fireplaces, to reduce emissions, so on and so forth. Very efficient. And yeah, so it's a beautiful thing. I love the ritual of lighting a fire. I love even just kind of cleaning it out. Here's my little bucket with all the wood ash that I will collect up and then put on the compost, put in the garden. Yeah, it's good. I'm warming up already, just hanging out by the fire. -30 outside. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling cozy. And then this guy actually, we put in either water, tea, or very oftentimes hydrosols. So for me, I produce hydrosols, and so I'm not using like, you know, the first run of it. It's kind of the tails of the hydrosol. So it's purified water, still has, you know, some aromatics in it, but not as much as the initial. And you can even add a couple drops of essential oils in there. And then that just, it doesn't get hot enough to like boil it, but it definitely gets it hot enough that it steams off, and it provides a nice little vapor. And I'll even add in a little bit of essential oil there too. So anyways, love this. You know, there's also just a small part of me that is grateful for this wood fireplace, you know, not only therapeutically, but, you know, practically. It does warm up this room. It's got big, tall ceilings, and just the heat is able to kind of go up and just spread throughout the house, and it really warms this room, which isn't that well insulated, so it adds that secondary source of heat. And if we needed to, in an absolute like emergency grid down situation, it's really good to know that I've got a source of heat for the house. You know, however slim a chance that is that may happen, I'm certainly not banking on it, but it does give a nice little bit of peace of mind. So anyways, typically on this kind of a thing, you close up the door and let it burn like that. Obviously with the door open, it really pumps the heat, but sometimes that also means a little bit of smoke can come in. I don't mind the smell. I like that. And yeah, creates a nice ambience and a really good warmth. So here we are, 100 Days of Gratitude, day 23, and I am grateful for wood burning stoves, fireplaces as a source of heat, as a source of therapeutic comfort, light, and everything, all that it provides, including the ritual lifestyle all around it. Axes, chainsaws, you name it. It's been fun to get into.